Hey, all right. So thanks for hopping on, Paul. This is the Future Music Podcast. Really happy to have you as a guest today. Paul, you are the CEO and co-founder of DropTrack. I'm really excited to hear about your company and what you guys are up to. But I think, a good way to start is just to have you explain your kind of career background, anything that you think is relevant to know about your start in the music industry and in technology or both. So yeah, feel free to take it away.
Thanks a lot, True, for having me. I'm excited to chat with you about my background, about DropTrack, and about music. Um, I started with music at the age of 5. My parents signed me up for piano lessons, and that was my first foray into music. And I didn't practice as much as they would have liked. So I don't know how happy they were about that, but it led me into later picking up other instruments like the clarinet and trumpet. I played in the marching band at USC. I got to play in the Rose Bowl. So music has been a big part of my life for many, many years. And out of college, I also started my own record label. I had started producing electronic music myself, downloading a demo of Ableton Live and, plugins from everywhere on the internet to get started and try to make sounds like the artists that I heard in the clubs and on the radio. And also I was going to school with a lot of talented musicians and artists that were putting out great music. And I just thought, they needed some extra help in getting it out into the world, and they didn't really know where to start with marketing. But since I had more of a business background, I studied business in school. I started a record label as a way to promote my own music and that of my friends. And so, long story short, the record label, we've now done over 100 releases. We've
Wow.
done placements with film and TV shows. A lot of sync licensing is the primary business model. But one of the things I learned running the record label is that you have to promote the music, right? It doesn't just cut it to put out a great song and upload it to Spotify, because then what, right? How do you compete with the thousands of other great songs that are put out every single day? How do you cut through the noise? How do you build a real fan base and an audience for your music? And what I did, what a lot of independent labels do and still did, at that time, was you hire a consultant. And this is like a club DJ promoter or a radio DJ promoter. Today, maybe you'd hire a Spotify playlist plugger, and they pitch your music on their behalf. And what I found was that this is very expensive. And a lot of times it's like throwing money down a black hole. Sometimes they follow up, sometimes they get results, sometimes they don't. It was really hit or miss. And I thought, there has to be a better way. And so I used kind of what I saw these consultants doing and some of my background in technology to build my own tool to do this sort of promotion myself and not have to pay a third party expense for this sort of promotion. And so, to back up a little bit on my technology background, I've been, an entrepreneur also from an early age. I've had a couple of companies that are in a number of different industries related to tech. I built a mobile app platform for restaurants called Ordering Apps that was acquired 10 years ago. So I've been in a whole bunch of different industries with technology, but the common thread has been, I want to build tools that others can use to empower themselves at a big scale. And my passion for music, just made it so clear that independent musicians need a better way to get their music in the hands of DJs, in the hands of bloggers that are going to write reviews, now in the hands of playlist curators that really can push the needle on an artist career for an independent musician or an independent label. And so the long story short is the software that I built worked. I was able to get placements for my music on my label in film and TV shows. Like I mentioned, we were able to promote some of our other music to DJs and get played on big radio shows. And I thought, wow, this worked for me. Maybe I could turn it into a product that would be useful for other labels, for other independent artists. And that's kind of where DropTrack, the company, was born. Since then, we've been growing organically. We haven't raised any funding. The company has been in business now for 7 years and is profitable. And we've helped now over 140,000 artists to promote their music and get it heard by a bigger audience. So that's kind of the background. Now, we're moving more into AI, and that's one of the reasons I reached out to you, because I know you've been exploring AI and the frontier of what that technology means for music. So I would be happy to chat more about that. But that's kind of the high level background of where I come from and what the genesis of DropTrack was.
Amazing. Yeah, well, I think that's a very classic sort of entrepreneurial founder story. Like there's an issue and you want to solve it, as particularly for an industry that you're passionate about, clearly. Yeah, I mean, I guess while we're on the topic, I would love to know, maybe sort of what DropTrack has been, how you use it from the perspective of an artist. And I think from the perspective of a music industry, DJ or playlist curator or whoever you are submitting to. And then maybe after that, you can explain sort of the new integrations you're making with artificial intelligence. I know that it's kind of a buzzword, but I know that you have a very talented chief technology officer, and I'd love to hear more about the developments you guys are making on that side as well.
Absolutely. So first of all, the mission of DropTrack is really to connect musicians with their best opportunity for success. And what that definition is different for every musician, right? For somebody, it might be getting their track played on the radio. For somebody, it might be winning a Grammy. For somebody, it might be getting their song placed in a TV show. And uncovering what those goals are and understanding that they're different is step one. Like, not number one, understanding that there's no one size fits all solution for success in the music industry, because success has a different definition for everybody. That being said, what we help our customers with today is the most common aspects of digital music marketing. So we help with pitching to DJs, whether they're radio DJs or club DJs, for placement on their playlists and rotation on radio shows. We help independent artists get signed by record labels by submitting demos. We help both record labels with released music and independent artists get the attention of journalists to get their music reviewed and published in popular blogs. And then we also work with Spotify playlist curators, again, to help independent artists and also record labels get their music placed on Spotify playlists. So the experience as a user of DropTrack, it's a do-it-yourself tool. You can go to droptrack.com and sign up. We have a couple different ways of working with us, again, depending on your goals and depending on whether or not you have your own industry contacts already. A lot of our customers, especially the labels, they have curated lists of contacts that they've built up over years, and they use DropTrack as a tool to pitch their music and then get the analytics about who's actually engaging with their music, who's listening to it, who's downloading it, who's putting it on their playlist. We report all that in real time back to the customer and facilitate more of a CRM to proactively encourage communication between the label and the playlist, in that example. If you don't have your own contacts, then we have another solution. We have a public directory of these industry influencers. So this is DJs, bloggers, record labels, playlist curators that you can browse on our website and submit your music to each opportunity individually. And then finally, within the past year, we've also introduced a done for you service, which as opposed to our software, which is do it yourself, we've heard from a number of musicians that I don't want to become a marketing expert. I want to spend my time, in the studio making music or on stage performing. I don't want to have to do the promotion also. I want you to do it for me. And so we've created this more of an agency business where we will actually do the promotion, handpick curators and influencers to reach out to for each artist based on their customized strategy, follow up, report back, and actually secure placement on playlists, in blogs, and record deals for these artists as a more high touch service that obviously has a higher price point, but is done for you as opposed to do it yourself. So that is, it's a lot. DropTrack, again, has been around now for about 7 years. So this didn't all happen overnight. We've added these services, over time based on what we've learned from our customers and how we can help them find success in their music careers.
Amazing. Yeah. And it's funny, right? Because I think that what you said in the beginning was so accurate, that promotion is an incredibly important part of releasing music. I work on the record label team as well at Avex USA, so I'm very familiar with how important marketing and promotion is. I'm curious to find out, in your experience with DropTrack, what has your user base typically been like? Is it mostly independent artists? Is it a mix of signed artists and it's working with record labels and independent artists? Is it mostly people that are longtime musicians that are kind of trying to do it on their own? Is it sort of a lot of startup, like, new musicians trying to break out in the industry? What has your experience been in terms of the kind of people that use DropTrack?
It's a good question. And I actually have very timely data because I was just putting together a presentation and I needed to find these numbers. So as of today, like I mentioned, we've helped over 140,000 customers. Of those, 75% are independent musicians and 25% are record labels with one or more artists signed to the label. And that is for the do-it-yourself product that anyone can sign up on DropTrack.com and use. For the agency product, the done for you service that we've been offering for the past year or so, it's 100% independent artists. And the profile of these customers, for the most part, has been hobbyists or somebody who has a day job and they're making music on the side as a passion project, and they want to take it to the next level, or they aspire for music to be their full-time career, and they're willing to invest not only their time, but also the money into marketing themselves and expanding their career. And we've had good success with, customers like that. So it's a mix of both. It's, there's something we certainly learned in the pandemic is that a lot of people across the entire globe have an interest in making music, and the barrier to entry for making music, downloading a copy of Ableton or Logic is lower than ever and easier to get started. There's a lot of great education out on YouTube and everywhere else that you can learn how to create music. That the next barrier is, okay, how do you promote the music? How do you get it out into the wider world or actually make a living from it, as is the aspiration of so many of the people we talk to. And it is possible, right? So that's I think it's really encouraging that there's more opportunity than ever for independent musicians to actually make a living or monetize their art if that's what they want to do.
Absolutely. And I want to learn a bit more about the done for you service, because I'm assuming that's kind of where the AI component comes in. Is that, is the done for you service, is it automated, or is it done manually by people at the company?
Yeah, so it's actually the opposite. The AI product is part of our software that anybody can sign up for. And
okay, gotcha.
In a bit, we are using it to an extent with our done for you service, but the done for you service is really actually high touch. It's, you get me on the phone, you get two other of my teammates that are operations specialists that are handpicking the influencers to reach out to, sending promotion campaigns individually, and it's a very manual process, which is why we have to charge a higher price point for it. It's not automated. But the AI stuff is very exciting. And I'm happy to share more about what we're doing today and what the vision is for the future of using AI for music promotion.
Absolutely, please.
So, I have been following your podcast, and I know you had the guy from Soundful, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that technology is so cool. And there's a lot of companies that are experimenting with generative AI for music, like using AI to create music. And I think it's really exciting, but nobody's talking about using AI to market music or promote music. And that's where DropTrack comes in. So we have just launched our first AI feature, which is what we're calling your AI powered PR agent. And how it works is you just upload your song, give it an MP3 file to our website, and we can automatically create a press release for you. So what we're able to do is detect the sonic qualities of the audio file and then feed them through, essentially an integration with OpenAI, the same company that's developed ChatGPT, to output in real human readable language a comprehensive, personalized, and professional press release that describes what your music sounds like, other similar artists that people might recognize that sounds similar to, and really gives musicians a way to describe in words what their music sounds like, as a way that anyone that you're pitching your music to, they need to read about it and be convinced that they even want to listen and press the play button before they ever hear your song. And that's why a press release is important. And traditionally, you would have to either think long and hard about how to describe the music yourself, or hire a copywriter or a PR agent, and the cost that goes along with that. And so this first feature that we've come out with using AI is really an attempt to go back to what I said earlier, let musicians do what they love doing, not have to become a marketing expert. And in the case of this feature, make it so simple to save so much time for musicians that are, in this journey of promoting their music. beyond this press release generation, you might be thinking, okay, I've got the press release. Now what? What do I do with it? Well, the next phase of DropTrack's AI platform is intelligent matching. So which DJ is the most likely to play your music based on other music they've played in the past and what we know about what your song sounds like? Which playlist is most likely to place your song on their playlist, again, based on similarity to songs that have been successfully placed on that playlist in the past? So this is where automation really comes into play, and we're going to do this at a big scale so that, again, the magic user experience is we have your music, you upload your music, you don't have to type anything, you don't have to tell us what genre it is, who it sounds like. We detect this automatically, and then we can automatically present you, these are the best opportunities for you to submit your music. Click here, and we're going to promote it to them with a personalized pitch that describes not only what your song sounds like, but how it compares to other music that has already been successful for that influencer or for that label, and why they might want to sign it or place your music on their playlist. So I know that was a big mouthful, but that's kind of, the vision and what I'm really excited about bringing AI to music promotion at DropTrack.
Absolutely. No, and that's super exciting and fascinating. I just want to ask a couple of follow-ups about that. So when you say it detects the sonic qualities of the song, what qualities specifically are you looking at on each song that it can look into? Is it just BPM and key, or is it looking deeper beyond that?
So it's beyond that. So you can think of a lot of rich metadata. So BPM, key, genre, mood, whether or not the song has vocals, the energy level of the song. There's a number of different factors. I don't know all the parameters. There's over 50 of them that we analyze for every single song, and we keep track of to compare their similarity to other songs in our database.
Amazing. Yeah, that's super fascinating because, in my experience, I've done music marketing for a long time. And without naming any specific names, there are a lot of other companies out there that kind of have like a marketplace where you can upload your music and submit it to specific playlists or blogs or what have you. But I've kind of found in my own experience, and I think in, my colleagues' experiences as well, the biggest issue is typically that you have to identify your music as being of a certain genre, which already I think in this day and age is pretty hard. No one makes like down the middle, like straight up genre music anymore. It's very blended. And when you do that, it will match you up with specific, influencers that aren't necessarily going to enjoy or even listen to your music because something's off in the genre matching, something's off in the pitch. I think I've also worked on the curator side, on the opposite side. And, it's a little disheartening when someone makes a pitch and maybe English isn't their first language, for example. And it's kind of hard to understand what the pitch of the central meaning of the song is. So I think that's an interesting solution that you're kind of, it's sort of like leveling the playing field a little bit because everyone gets a personalized press release. And then second of all, it's looking deep into the sonic qualities of each song to make sure that the matching is as accurate as it can be and not being left up to some sort of like subjective definition that someone made, in the last 20, 30 years of a specific subgenre of music. So yeah, super cool to hear about all that. I
think that's exactly right. And, the issue of genres is really interesting and how it's evolved over time because, my background also as a producer is in electronic music. And, some people in the 90s would just say all of that is techno. And right. Today all of it is EDM. But if you ask a fan of the music and you call their subgenre of, progressive house and you call that EDM, those are fighting words. And so there is a lot of subdivision and, blending and overlap between what these genres are called. But again, if you look at Spotify and you look at the details or click on an album, there's no genre anywhere. They don't even list it. It's not a first class concept within Spotify. There are playlists that users or Spotify puts together that are like featuring hip hop songs or featuring country songs, but nowhere within Spotify can you like click on a song and see this is country genre or this is hip hop genre. So I think it's just kind of the trend that music is becoming more homogenous, and like there it's harder to draw a line between what a genre really is anymore. And to your point, like that's not maybe the most important thing in deciding if it's a good fit for a playlist or a label. It's more like the mood. Does it fit with the other songs I'm playing? Is it gonna, get the emotional reaction out of the audience that we're going for? And that's really hard to define in a particular genre.
Absolutely. And a bit of an open-ended question here. I think that right now the music industry is in a bit of a funny spot where with the disruption of TikTok and short form video being so closely associated with music promotion, it's kind of shaken up the industry in a bit that, there's no pipeline marketing anymore like there used to be, where it's like these specific, press outlets are the ones that people discover new music from, or these specific radio shows are the ones that people discover new music from. They still do to a certain extent, but it's much more fragmented. I'm curious on your opinions on the future of music marketing, sort of where you think the most influence will be had. I think that the traditional pipelines will always have some degree of power, but maybe they might lose some over the next coming years. I'm just curious about your thoughts on that. And, where you do think the most important music marketing and promotion will occur, are those, platforms going to be integrated into the DropTrack service in the future?
Yeah, it's a really good question. What we've seen certainly with TikTok has been amazing. However, most of the research that has come out has shown that while going viral on TikTok or having your song be part of a dance routine that a whole bunch of people copy is good for a short-term boost in streams, but it's really hard to turn that sort of engagement into lasting fan relationships. And so really what I think the future of marketing is for music, and also the future of music discovery, is more personalized, right? And it's not necessarily everybody's listening to the same 20 songs on top 40 radio, as has been the case for the past many decades, but instead everyone is kind of in their own bubble of music that is perfect for them based on their mood, based on their friends, what they're listening to, and what feels closer to home maybe for some of those artists. And I think there's going to be platforms like TikTok that have this sense of virality. And I think that there should be either the capability built into TikTok, or maybe it's something we can explore with DropTrack to transform or capture some of that audience that is, a very viral moment, and make those long-lasting fans and bring that into a relationship that you can control, whether that's an email list or some other communication platform where, great, you had this one song that was a hit on TikTok and had millions of views, but what happens 6 months from now when you want to put out an album or another record? How do you reach those same fans? How do you predict what amount of engagement music is going to get in the future? I think those are some unanswered questions that technology can and will solve. But I also think there's no substitute for placing music in vehicles that have a big audience already. And specifically, I'm talking about movies, TV. There's so many streaming networks now that have millions of viewers, and there's so many placements for licensing songs, for whether it's the intro video on a TV show or it's just played in the background and people are pulling out their phones to Shazam it and discover what is that song. These cases are more and more appearing every day. And I think that there's no one thing that's going to dictate success in the music industry in the future. And there's no one platform. I think it's going to become more fragmented, even more so than it already has. And we'll have more companies that come out of left field, like TikTok, that no one would have predicted is going to have such an outsized impact on the music industry when it first started as, ByteDance and Musical.ly way back in the day. So yeah, it's hard to say what the future holds, but I'm excited about it. And I'm really excited about using what I know about technology and the team at DropTrack to build tools that are really useful for musicians so that they can, advance their careers no matter what the hot trend of the day is, or what the hot service is today. Because ultimately, musicians care about building a real lasting relationship with fans that can last years and years, and support them financially through multiple releases, merch, live performances, all the other things that you'd expect as revenue streams as a musician.
Absolutely. And I, just one last question I want to ask here, because of what you just mentioned, it's it's no doubt that every day there's some sort of new development, some groundbreaking, maybe not groundbreaking, but there's a new development, and every so often there's a new groundbreaking development in technology and artificial intelligence that naturally has a super disrupting effect on the music industry. How are you and your team, staying, kind of ahead of the game in terms of making sure you're always up to date with the newest technology, the newest advances, and kind of keeping DropTrack, relevant in the sense that it's not, conforming to sort of like one specific niche, but kind of staying ahead of the game, with music marketing and music tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's always top of mind. One thing, as you mentioned earlier, I have a great co-founder who has a background at Google, and our team also has a background, using AI technology at Microsoft and a few other companies like Apple, where this technology has been around for a while. It's only become, super popular with the release of ChatGPT in the past year or so. But the foundations for building these models to match, a successful artist with a successful opportunity to generate text that is human readable. These big companies have been doing this for a while. And so the engineering team that I've built is passionate about not just using the technology because it's buzzworthy, but because it's actually providing value to the customer. And I think we've seen already, like, there's been a huge drop off in interest in ChatGPT. If you look at like the Google search rankings over time, there was this big buzz in like November 2021, 2022. And as this year has gone down, it's sort of trailed off because customers are like, okay, we get it. There's a product, but what am I supposed to do with it? And I think the best uses of AI, or really any technology, are the ones where it doesn't matter how it's built. No one really cares how it works under the hood. It just does what the customer expects or what the user is trying to do. In product management, there's this concept of jobs to be done, and that nobody is buying your product because it's a cool product. People are buying your product because they have a job to do, and your product helps them do that. It helps them do it better, cheaper, more efficient, something like that. And I think there's a lot of buzz with AI where people just want to say, oh, we have this AI and it's using AI. Great, but what does it actually do for the customer? What does it do for the end user? And that's, I think, really top of mind for me and for my team, is like, yeah, we want to use the latest technology, but only to the extent that it's providing value and useful for our customers.
Amazing. Well, that's super fascinating. And look, Paul, I'm really excited about DropTrack and, where it's going. It seems like you guys have, already been quite successful, but with your new integrations and your plans for the future, it sounds like you guys are, are off to the races. So super excited to see where it goes. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about everything with me. And yeah, I hope to speak with you soon.
Great. Thanks a lot, True.